Welcome to Post Game Podcast. I'm your host, June. I got my boy B Foster. And before we go into this Central Division Showdown edition, I hear an echo. Anybody else hear an echo?
It's tape.
Okay. Before we get into the show, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube. Also follow us on all the aggregators. That's anywhere you can listen to a podcast. You can find us. Just type in Post Game Podcast, FFSN in your search. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you hit that notification bell on so when we drop content, you'll get an alert and download the episodes. I want to introduce my boy at the bottom there. His name's Tate. Tate, you can introduce yourself and tell people where they can find you.
Hey, fellas, what's happening, man? Thanks for having me. You guys happen to have a playoff game tonight, a great game that you'll get into. But we typically on Mondays have the Central Division Showdown. So, we're still doing that in conjunction with the post-game podcast and the recap from the Pistons Knicks. So thanks for having me. I'll get my moment once we talk about this series, the Pistons and the Knicks, and talk about I'm from the That's Rather Cavalier podcast, by the way, FFSN, That's Rather Cavalier, Cleveland Cavaliers podcast. Thanks for having me. You can find us on FFSN, That's Rather Cavalier in your audio. We tri-weekly go on YouTube when we're the host of the Central Division Showdown. But yeah, check me out over there and on some other stuff on FFSN. I won't get into it specifically because it's football and other stuff, but I'm ready to talk some hoops, June.
Yeah, me too, man. I have to let the blood pressure go back to normal because these guys, man, these last couple of fourth quarters have really tested my faith and my religion, my blood pressure. I mean, what was it, Saturday? What was it? It was Saturday. Up 8 in the fourth quarter, and Knicks go on a 21-0 run, wind up closing out that game and winning. And, we played tough all the way up until that point. And then tonight, you had the Pistons jumping out to a 15-point lead in the second half. And, it came down to making our free throws at the end and stopping them. So I'm kind of like just trying to, I'm still trying to process it. Foster, what do you think about tonight's game?
Well, I mean, I think it was a game that I felt like we needed to have. I saw things in the first game that didn't really surprise me. There were some things that I liked, some things that I didn't like, but I expected some of our young guys to need to adjust to the just the pressure and the intensity that is the playoffs. So, I mean, it was pretty evident early on who had been there and who hadn't been there. Kay started slow. Beasley had a pretty good game. Hardaway had a decent game. Tobias had a great game in that first game. So right there, as far as the guys that play well early on and throughout the entire game, a lot of veterans. Schroeder was also good in that game. And then, so as far as this game is concerned, I think that we were able to keep our defensive intensity up. It was physical early and often, and the Knicks could not hit a three. I think they shot. I mean, I think both of us shot under 30% from three.
Well, thanks to Tim Hardaway Jr. not with a goose egg and missing all those open threes. But
yeah, and when we know how streaky he can be, either he's really on or really not on. But I mean, ultimately, Cade had a much better start to the game, which was important. And Schroeder hit some big shots. That three he hit when we were tied up, I believe.
It was tied 94-94.
Yeah. So, I mean, he definitely used his veteran prowess to, the moment wasn't too big for him. He's been there, done that in a sense. And we really needed that. So,
yeah. And they took Cade away in those last few possessions. Like they really, really tighten up their defense. But before I get into it, though, Tate, what was your assessment of the game?
Oh, man, I thought it was a good game. I mean, I know I know you old enough to remember June. I don't know about the homie B False, man. He one of them YNs, what we call them, right?
Yeah,
It reminded me of some good old '90s playoff basketball, man.
yeah.
Just the level of physicality, the black back and forth, the chippiness. Because you remember back then, that's what the Pistons was all about. But also in that era, the Pat Riley Knicks, that's what they was all about too.
It was all about that with
Right.
Oakley.
So
Yeah,
yeah, all those Oakley, Mason, Ewing.
Oakley and Mason was probably the two toughest people in basketball.
Yeah, no doubt on the same team in the same lineup.
Yeah,
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, man, I mean, I thought it was a great game in that sense. We talked a few weeks ago, and the question was asked who was better between Cade and Jalen Brunson. I'm leaning Cade now, man. I'm leaning
I,
Cade now.
I can't say that, man.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why real quick. Because Cade can do everything Jalen Brunson gives you offensively, but what do you have? Like 10, 11 rebounds a night? How many assists do you have? At least 8. I don't know the final statistics,
he
but
didn't have any assist at half.
okay.
So, and it was shocking that he didn't have any assist.
So what he finished with
I don't know
though?
what he finished with though.
3 assists.
Yeah,
That's
he did,
all?
yeah, he didn't have,
Okay. I thought I saw a lot more,
and he got one
pass
late, and that was the oop to
to
Durham.
Durham.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that. I still think I'll go back to what I said about you guys during the regular season. I mean, and a testament to JB. JB brings that defensive mindset and that culture everywhere he goes. And I know personally because this thing we got going in Cleveland, it started with him a few years back. Kenny Atkinson just made some twists and switched it over, but starts with JB preaching defense, preaching culture, preaching toughness, and all that stuff. And you guys just came and stepped to the plate today, man. I don't know. We talked a couple shows ago about your veterans, and I felt like somebody was talking about. Is that me again?
no, you good.
Okay.
I hear what you heard too. I don't know what,
I heard a little,
but
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
it's
but
good now. Yeah.
But no, I was just saying that a few weeks ago, I felt like and it could have been one of the Chicago guys. Them fellas say anything, and they're not here to represent themselves, so we don't even get into that. But shout out to the frustrated Chicago sports fan, man. Y'all sitting with us fans while our teams are playing, watching the playoffs on the couch. So shout out to y'all. But y'all players joining y'all. But nah, that the Pistons didn't have any veterans, man. When I think Schroeder was a great acquisition. You got Tobias Harris, you got Beasley, you got Hardaway. I mean, I think you guys have the right veterans to tell you the truth. So shout out to the Pistons for going to the Garden because that's all they had to do was get one in the Garden, man.
Yeah, that's the big thing about this is that essentially we've taken home court advantage. We won, we split down there, so now we hold the cards are kind of in our hands now. I'm sure everybody's going to pop out, and it's going to be a lively environment for that first one. And the Pistons taste the blood, like it's on now.
yeah. And the one thing we missed last year sorely is we said it all last year. There was literally no veteran leadership on the team, and we needed to get draft picks wasn't going to help this 14 and 68 team last year. We did not need to get any younger. So we knew that we needed Pistons needed some veterans, some leadership out there, and they got some key pieces out there. But the thing about tonight is we didn't have Isaiah Stewart. Hardaway had a goose egg. I think Beasley shot horribly. And Oscar Thompson fouled out. So it's like it was a tough game. It was a tough game, but the Pistons knew what they had to do. They knew they had to, they couldn't leave 0-2 with a chance. Couldn't leave 0-2 with a chance. Momentum is everything. And that would have took they lose tonight, that would have took all the air out the sails. I think they could have possibly, that kind of thing can lead to a sweep, when you get when you do this and have two fourth quarter collapses. So I think the the message after this game, after the last game, was from JB was like, we have to learn from this, and we are going to learn. We learn how to win for the regular season. We have to learn how to win in the playoffs, and I think we're going to be fine. We're going to learn from this game, and they went into this game and they played pretty good. I can't complain. I mean, if you look at it, they were only up 6 at half, and you win by 6. It got kind of close. It was close in the end, but Pistons held their composure, closed the game out. My hat's off to him. My hat's off to the whole team. So that was a great game, though. I mean, even if you, I don't care if you're a Knicks fan or not. This is great basketball that you're seeing. Troy says, "Let's go, guys."
If I'm the Knicks fans, I don't know. I don't feel good about it. I was down. They were down for pretty much all of this game, and for a considerable. I mean, I didn't watch the entire game on Saturday, but
the Knicks were up most of the time in the first half.
In the first half, okay, but the Pistons were kind of in control of it halfway through that fourth quarter. Yeah. So if I'm a Knicks fan, what do I see? I don't know how I see myself just coming through to Detroit and commanding and taking over the game. Like one of our best defensive player didn't even play today, and we still came in there with our backs against the wall and took control of the game. So I don't know. Maybe the delusion in a Knicks fan might think that they got something coming, but I don't know.
You talked about Isaiah Stewart not playing. I think that deserves a cues up a direct shout out to Paul Reed, who had a really, really good game.
I was cussing him out though, Tay, during the game.
He had some good moments. He had the block on Towns on the closeout. He had 6 points, but he blew.
He had a couple putbacks.
He smoked a layup to start, but so did Hardaway. No wonder he has 0 points. Did you see that layup to start the game?
Yeah,
point blank range, and it didn't get any better. But yeah, there was a couple turnovers. I think he had one steal, and he immediately on the outlet threw it away. And then I think he was running a fast break. He was pushing a fast break and turned it over too. So I mean,
I tell you, a turnover he was a part of, but I didn't like the decision by Dennis Schroeder was in the fourth quarter where Dennis Schroeder gave him a pocket pass at like the top of the circle. Like that's not where you give Paul Reed the ball. Yeah. And it ended up turning into a turnover right there too. I don't think it's on Paul Reed. I think it was on Schroeder's decision making at that point.
Yeah.
Gotta know your personnel.
Your point as your primary ball handler, you gotta know that. Pistons win 100-94. We have a 1-1 going in 1-1 and heading back to Detroit to Little Caesars Arena for Game 3. Same night of the draft. Oh, it's going to be a great, fun-filled day, Foster. You'll probably see a lot of us on Thursday. Probably see me and Foster a couple of times. But prior to this game, the Cleveland Cavaliers had their opening game for the playoffs. And Tate, how did that go?
I think it went well, man. Miami was tough early. Cleveland started to pull away late. It's really not a whole lot to talk about, except for, if you remember last week, another shout out. I'm not going to go at them too hard to the frustrated Chicago sports fans. Remember last week when they was talking about, betting the Nifty and David Robinson and all that, and the Miami Heat. The Heat beat them by like 25, 30. and they wanted the Cavs, and the Cavs beat the Heat by 21. So that's like a 56-point swing. I'm not sure they really knew what they was asking for, man. But I also said during that show that Kobe White was the 5th best point guard in Central Division. Fifth best guard. But I've reevaluated now, man. I think he has fallen behind Ty Jerome.
Wow, that's bold.
You know what I mean? I mean, Ty went for what 28 yesterday and 4-4, I think, in a playoff game. And Kobe White, they quote unquote best player to be feared. One of the guys to be feared went for 17, 5, and 3 in a playing game. So yeah, man. I mean, I wish them guys was here. As far as the Cavs go, though, Donovan Mitchell scored 30, Ty Jerome scored 28, Darius Garland scored 27. So we got a lot of contributions from the backcourt.
Mm-hmm.
The front court, I think some Cleveland fans are worried about the lack of offense from Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. But I don't know that really matters. I mean, that's not their job to score points. It's good when they score points. And Evan Mobley was trying to be a factor early, being aggressive. But long as them guys is manning the defensive side of the ball, I mean, you know, everything else just happens in the flow of the game.
Yeah.
You know, we need them guys to control the offense and the guards, Garland and Mitchell. They don't got to score all the points, but they control the offense. So, you know, Cleveland had a good first win. There's a lot of things they can do to kind of short things up. But, you know, shout out to getting the game 1 win.
And I think Miami's a lot better than their record is. They can play in, they can actually compete with a lot of teams. I mean, a hero is something else, and Bam's a very good complimentary player. Is he an all-star? Is Bam
an all-star?
Oh,
yeah, he was.
You
didn't see that clip out there? Remember when Ricky is talking about who they not worried about?
You said Bam is an all-star.
Yeah, Bam. How's he not a star? He's an all-star.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know what they was talking about. And Hero gave them almost 40 in that game. I think he might have scored 17 or 18 yesterday against Cleveland. So I don't.
Well, hey, I mean, I think
I wish they was here.
Yeah, I mean, I think they knew to be worried about Hero. I think that they just kind of slept on the Davion Mitchells of the world. Which I mean,
Davion Mitchell been balling ever since he said he was.
It's like he heard them. It's really like he heard.
Yeah.
Them.
Hey, as a matter of fact, false. The exact words they said. Oh, he with us. Davion Mitchell with us. You know. So yeah, that whole show is still ingrained in my frontal lobe, in my memory, you know.
Right.
And I haven't got to talk to any of them guys yet, man. I'd be glad when they decide to show their faces again around FFSC.
I mean, you know, it's tough when you have a playing game, and you know, especially if you only got you win and you're out. It's tough, man. It's tough.
But Julie, I understand all that, and I believe everything you said. But they the ones doing all the talking, seeing red. Y'all know how the last 3 weeks done went, man. They should have stayed in the lane when they was talking about, man, we can't even poop right. You know, poop for coop. All that talk. Then they just switch. They switch whole. They got in the fast lane and smashed the gas.
You
said in our chat, man, Tate, that's kind of petty. Like, nah, man. Yeah. Everything I said, them jokers had coming for everything we endured the previous month.
Yeah, I mean, I get it though. They were excited. The Bulls had played some very good basketball the last month of the season. But my thing is with that though, there's when you say in comparison to Cleveland, who's played good basketball all year long,
entire year,
and to say, hey, we want them. And it's like, no, you don't. I mean, but you know, that's the competitive nature. I mean, that's just what it is. You win a few games and you think you've turned it around with, you know, but you know, it was funny to go from poop coop to nobody wants to see these Bulls. And you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Cooper Flag declared for the NBA draft today. So
we knew that.
It came up, yeah. And yeah, man, like they just did to themselves, man. Like I said, all that talking and nobody here to represent them tonight. So it makes me just wonder. But shout out again to Pay and the frustrated Chicago sports fans.
Well, you know, they couldn't deal with the time change. So I mean, I personally, and for the people that's listening and watching, I reached out and said, hey, can we start at 6:30 so we can, so me and Foster could actually watch the entire Pistons game. It's playoff basketball. We lost the last playoff game we had, and we needed this game, and we have to report on this game. So I wanted to watch the whole game in its entirety. And I asked if it was okay to move it to 6:30 in Eastern time instead of 8. And that's why you don't see the Chicago fans here, representatives here, because I had to move the time. And I even compromised and said, I'll move it back to 8, but I didn't hear a response from Peyton until closer to 8. And it was like, okay, never mind. We'll just
the call was already made by you, who's hosting this week, to just go after the game, which is fine with me. Works out better in theory to me that you get to kill two birds with one stone now. You know what I mean?
I kind of figured it was gonna either be 2 shows. It was gonna be the Central Division Showdown at 6:30. And then it was going to be the after show what we're doing now. Me and Foster was going to win or lose. I don't know if Foster was going to be here after we did the Central Division show early, but I definitely was going to be on here, win or lose, after the game. Let's take a quick break, and what we'll do is I want to preview the Cleveland versus Miami game too, and I want to know what Tate expects out of his team. If you're listening, you're going to hear some ads. If you're watching, we'll be back in like 10 seconds. And we're back. Welcome to Post Game Podcast. And you have our boy Tate. Tate has an upcoming game on Wednesday. I thought the game was tomorrow. But it is Wednesday, and you guys play at what time?
I think 7:30 in the league is disrespected us once again. We on NBA TV. No respect, but it's cool, man.
Why? I mean, you should be on primetime TV. I mean, ESPN or
I think ESPN has the games that night, and they have obviously the Lakers Wolves the late game. I think the early game is OKC and Memphis. Like, I mean, hey, we almost just as good as OKC, and I think they got Ja versus Shea, so maybe that's the reason.
Ja ain't even playing. They could put that on NBA TV.
Is Ja hurt?
He's doubtful to play. They said that earlier.
I mean, I don't think the whole year that Cleveland was ever really given they don't have they have stars. I mean, Donovan Mitchell's the star, Garland, but I don't think not in the sense.
I'm sorry.
But not in the way that Shea and Ja and, obviously the Lakers and Minnesota, Ant and LeBron and all that. I mean, I think they kind of pale in comparison as far as star power. Donovan Mitchell is
to OKC,
but that's like they're like the team right now. I mean, they're like they got the young guys. Shay's
an MVP candidate. I get it.
The post game with the 6 players, and
somebody had to go to NBA TV.
You guys have to excuse my laughter. I was laughing at the comment by the frustrated Chicago sports fan. He said,
"Oh, they are here."
Ty Jerome, FOH.
He must be behind and caught that. Just
yeah.
I think FOH is up out of here. Up out of here.
Yeah,
man. Well, I would right now. I mean, Ty Jerome is in the running for 6th man of the year. He probably could have been in the running for most improved player. I don't know what Kobe White in the running for.
He running to the terminal for Cancun.
He going to feast you. He with Barkley them.
Foster, do not feed into that.
Hey, man, he's out here listening to all the talk too, man. Now, this guy's still on here talking, but they ain't showed their face. And frustrated Chicago sports fans has about 5 or 6 different affiliates that do their podcast. When we see about 5 or 6 people, somebody should be here.
Somebody could have been here. And they got 5 people on the payroll, man. They got 5 people on the payroll. Somebody's not doing anything. I mean, I understand if Peyton moves around a lot and he can't, but you still got Rick and Zeke, and you still
A little earlier in the shot too. It's a little late for us.
It's only it's their hour. It's only 9. It's 9:45 where they're at, man. What's the deal? It's just starting to get popping over there on 63rd. They should be online. It's early for them. Anyway, got a game coming up there for you on Wednesday, man. And do you foresee any challenges going into game 2? Is business as usual?
I think it'll be a challenge just because, I mean, Spoelstra's a good coach.
Yeah.
And he'll make adjustments. So you kind of got to recalibrate and be ready for whatever those set adjustments are.
Mm-hmm.
But we know there are going to be some. I don't think you hold Tyler Hero to what we held him to the other day.
What do you have?
I think he had like 17 or 18.
Oh, yeah.
So I think he gets up 26, 28. He gonna be looking to be aggressive.
He's going to start early. He's going to shoot early.
Bam scored 25, but it was a tough 25 because of Allen and Mobley.
Mm-hmm.
So I think more of the same there. But yeah, I think Miami, just because of Spoelstra, is gonna make a difference. But on our side of things, we can get more from the others. Like I told you the breakdown when we talked about game 1, Mitchell, Garland, and the 6th best guard in the 5th best guard in the Central Division, 28. So they scored all the points. I think Hunter didn't have any points. Strus didn't play well. Who else didn't play? A couple of our key players didn't play well. I think Sam Merrill hit 2 threes, and so it's still a lot of squeeze in that orange. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm expecting them to come out, want to run, be aggressive defensively, and be ready for whatever Spo has to bring that's going to be different. I'm expecting some type of zone, switching zone and man to man, mostly zone though, to keep defenders out around the 3-point line. And one of the bigs gonna have to show up. One or both of the bigs gonna have to show up to win, because they're not going to be giving those shots and those driving lanes up.
Okay. Yeah. I expect Tyler Hero just come out firing. They need a spark. The Miami goes as Tyler Hero goes. So if he goes crazy, they have a chance. They don't have enough weapons to compete offensively with Cleveland. So he can't have a 17. He has to have 30 plus for them to have a chance, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Bam is, he's scrappy, but he's not going to get easy points, just like he didn't in the first game. He's playing against 2 really good defenders down there with Allen and Mobley. I just don't see him having like a crazy game. Like, I'm surprised he had 25 the last game with those 2 defenders, Cleveland's role players is just the players they have on the bench. They add so much to the team as well.
Hero had 21. He had 21.
Yeah, he needs to be 30 plus. It needs to 21 is not going to get it for him. Not against this stacked team. No. I mean, you got to deal with Garland and Mitchell, and then Ty Jerome getting off the bench. That's just too much firepower. Tyler Hero needs to be 30 or more. And Bam needs, and with that 30, Bam needs to be 20 plus. That it has to be for them to have a shot. But I personally think Cleveland's going to sweep. I think Cleveland's going to sweep. We have one more game that happened, and we're the Bucks versus Indiana Pacers, Tate, and it looks like Indiana's playing a lot better than what you thought they would this year.
They've sustained. I'm Still, I mean, it kind of played out like I said. I mean, Giannis damn near went for 40. I said Giannis going to do it by himself. Maybe he cannot.
Maybe he can.
So I think Dame is scheduled to play. If not the next game, game 2, he's going to play game 3.
Dame is pissed, by the way.
I'm sorry.
Dame is pissed, by the way.
Oh yeah, he was in a back and forth on the bench, and he in street clothes.
Right.
You know, hey, mentality wise, I don't know how he gonna come back after this layoff. I don't know, but mentality wise, time not to do what you want to mess with.
Yeah,
you know, get him all. Remember, Paul George did that.
Yeah,
them jokers from the Patriots can keep talking if they want to, man. But I still don't think it's over, and it played out like I thought. For Giannis getting his, but nobody else gave them anything. You know. So
I think Indiana's supposed to win game 1. I mean, I think the home teams should win game 1. I mean, they're supposed to. I mean, what do it look like? You holding serve your first playoff game and you lose. It just looks bad, Lakers. It just looks bad.
right.
I do think that is probably going to be the one of the tighter series. Because I like the 4 and 5 matchup. If Dame can come back and be productive, you're going to look at. I think that game could possibly go 6-7, especially if Dame. I don't know if Dame will be back the next game, but definitely be back for game 3. If he
the first one in Milwaukee,
he would have to be for them to have a shot. Doc might. I mean, Glenn might do some adjustments, man. You never know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
That one's tomorrow, though, right? That one's tomorrow.
I don't know why they staggered the games like that, though.
For TV, man, they can't play everybody every other day. They start on the weekend. Everybody plays Saturday, Sunday.
Everybody plays. So
yeah. Then they got to start staggering. So they got something every night of the week.
And see, that's why I thought you guys played.
Right. It makes sense. Yeah. Y'all play Tuesday. Y'all play Sunday. Y'all play Tuesday. No, we play Wednesday.
Yeah. So Pistons are going to be staggered till Thursday night. So I guess that's I just took it as in travel day. Then, it gave travel time, and then Thursday night is game 3. So I'll be looking forward to that. Going into that, Foster, how do you see game 3 going for the Pistons?
Well, the playoffs is tricky because you just never know what you're gonna get out of your role players. I feel like the play of the role players the play of the role player is very volatile as far as the playoffs are concerned, especially on the road. What I do see us being able to clean up is that we won't be overwhelmed by the moment and the emotions and being away from home. We'll be able to control that environment a lot better. And I think that's going to play into our hands, which is why it was so big that we were able to get that win today. So we definitely need that little break. Hopefully we can get Isaiah Stewart back, because I think having him play some meaningful minutes. I mean, I think he was kind of already banged up in the first game, but he was a +10 out there. He was making a positive impact when he was on the court. And if we can get him back, and I mean, I don't want to say Ivy might come back, but he's looking closer and closer to returning as well. But I think that being at home is going to do a lot for our role players. As you can see, Hardaway had, I think, 20 points. I think he had 20 points in the first game, and then he had zero today. Doesn't get any more, inconsistent and volatile than that. So that just it a lot of times it comes down to that's why they were asking us about who our number 2 is, who is the next guy, who's the next guy that can step up. Because essentially we had a couple guys have 10 points, but we had Cade with 30+, and then Schroeder stepped up today.
But we needed that.
Beasley had 9, though, even though he had a better game in that first one. So it's very up and down with the role players, especially on the road. So we need to find who that other guy, we need to, today it was Schroeder. Next game, Schroeder probably won't have 20. We kind of hope it's not Schroeder that has 20. We hope that, it's more
Beasley gets on track, and
we hope that Beasley gets on track. We hope that it's not sustainable to have Schroeder have to take big shots down the stretch. So
I agree. I think the others have stepped up though. When you look at Duran had 12 and 13, and I think Tobias Harris like 15 and 13. So those guys combined for like 27 and 26. That was huge.
Yeah. Tobias has been, and he was one of the people that when you say, oh yeah, Tobias is a second, it's like, yeah, but playoff Tobias, that really has never gone together. Tobias having a big playoff. So that was the worries. But so far he's done what it's take to keep us in both games.
Well, Pistons are a better team when Tobias is playing well. I mean, even defensively, he brings something to the table when he's playing.
He's done an excellent job on or at least in this game. Towns only had 10 points. Which is kind of insane. But a lot of people were like, "Oh, why isn't Duran on him?" Well, Towns going to draw that foul on. Yeah. And especially when Towns wants to hang out on the outside. That's what you want him to do because Tobias is only 6'6", and so Towns has a considerable amount of height and weight on him. So if you can force him on the outside, that's what you want.
And I thought Towns. Oh, go ahead, Tate. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
I was thinking Towns was going to have a big game. He had a dunk early in the first quarter where nobody, everybody. He was supposed to hand. He looked like he handed the ball off.
Tobias didn't communicate on that. I felt like
that was weird.
Should have dropped back and at least stop the ball.
Yeah, and I said, oh, he's about to have a field day. But luckily he didn't. The block shot, the block three by Reed was
another Reed game, yeah.
Yeah, so but
now I think I like Tobias Harris guarding, especially because Towns like to get out on the floor, but I don't think you can allow Towns to do old school Mark Jackson or Barkley and just back him down and back him down and back him down. I think you got to send a double immediately to make the ball get out of his hands. And he got to reset, reposition. You can't let him just because then he has the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So
and another
I like to see JB make an adjustment on that part.
Oh no, I was going to say another point on how volatile the bench play can be. Payne was a major factor in that first game. That wasn't on my bingo card to be a high impact player, but I think he had 13 or 14. I don't think he even played. He played 4 minutes and had 0 points today. So I just really think that the veteran play was a major factor in that first game because Josh Hart had some good takes to the basket, Payne, but we know that the Knicks really don't have a bench, so that wasn't something that, or at least we didn't hope we would. Pistons fans would hope wouldn't be something that just came out of nowhere, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, all things considering, like I said, I'm gonna go back. No Stewart. Hardaway missed everything. I think he wound up with 0 points. He missed a lot of open shots. Not a good game by Beasley by any means. You can say Duran had 12. He had 4 of them in the fourth quarter or the closing minutes of the fourth quarter with the alley-oop and the 2 free throws. And the free throws were getting we missed a couple free throws, when we needed them. There was a play that I didn't quite understand though. Oscar Thompson had got fouled. It was ruled clear path, but he made the shot, but they didn't count the basket.
I wasn't watching that particular play, but clear path is, so it was a continuation, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it was.
Maybe you can't call clear path and an and one. I don't know though.
Yeah, I think clear path kills it.
Maybe
Right.
so.
Like the play is dead after the clear path.
It seems weird.
Yeah.
And then usually clear path is well before.
It's usually at around half court. They don't
Right.
call it
Right.
that
That's what I'm
close.
saying.
So it's like, but then you get the
And
free
they usually stop them. Like usually a clear path is a definitive, like usually they don't have an opportunity to get it up. So
yeah, I thought pause. And I thought it was just a simple and one. You know,
what a surprise. But we got the ball back, right?
ball back. We got what they call a flagrant as well, didn't
They
they?
call it a flagrant clear path. I missed that part, so I
So
don't know.
you got the free throws, then you got the ball back.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think a clear path, you always get the ball.
I'm not quite sure.
Clear path, you get the ball back. So I don't think it was a flagrant, but maybe unless they did call it.
But the clear path, I don't think you get the free throws, right? You get one free throw. You get one free throw, right? And the ball.
Correct. You get one, yeah, which is what he got, right?
You got
right, I believe so.
Missed both.
Yeah, he did.
He missed both free throws.
So I think it was a technical and a clear path, but they got the ball back.
Yeah.
See, they doing different stuff.
That's
probably never happened before.
It's convoluted. That's why we don't know what we talking about. Probably
Right.
never happened before.
Right. Yeah, I ain't never seen nothing like that.
Let me ask y'all this.
Because I did question that. Shout out to anybody can die battle league. He said, I think it was because he grabbed the rim. They might have ruled it as basket interference at that point. I did see him touch the rim.
Yeah.
Oh,
like the ball went in and the ball was going up towards the basket, but I guess he grabbed the rim and they might have just waved it off
to catch his balance because he was fouled.
Yeah.
Right. He was going to hurt himself.
Right.
It was a weird sequence.
Was that we've never seen before, like False just said.
Yeah. All the combination of all the things happening at once.
Clear path that close to the rim, and then it's because usually it's breakaway. It's usually like there's no one back, and but it was like it just looked like a simple foul. It should have been an and one, but I guess I digress. Anyway, let's see, and then you got when is the Bucks and Pacers playing?
That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. Okay. And that's
go ahead, Jim. Sorry.
What time is that?
7 o'clock. I think they play on NBA TV tomorrow. It's 3 games tomorrow.
Okay.
They the NBA TV game.
All right. So
with the disrespect for the small markets, Cleveland, Indiana, Milwaukee.
That's crazy, man. They should go by the best team. I mean, it would have even if it was a small market, if LeBron would have been on Cleveland, they'd have been on primetime TV.
Right. Well, that's what it is. The viewership dictates the market. Whoever they think you're gonna watch. Oh, we want to see Shea versus Ja. Whether Ja plays or not. Those are 2 big names on the marquee.
Yeah.
You gonna show Luka LeBron versus Ant. You gonna show that? I mean, So yeah, they pick the games based on who they gonna think get the most eyes on them.
Yeah. Away from our division, there were a couple of games that I watched that I was shocked. I was surprised by the Lakers losing to Minnesota the way they did, because it was just it was belt to what I'm saying, they put the belt on them boys for game 1, and then also Golden State stole one from Houston, and I was shocked by that. I figured, like I said, I and those were both away teams in that scenario. And I always say you're supposed to win game 1 at home if you're hosting, but those teams did not. Did you watch either game there, Tate?
I watched both of them, and I picked Golden State. That was no surprise to me. Like I believe we said on one of the shows, sometimes teams got to go through it. Houston's really good, number 2 seed, but you going against playoff Jimmy, you're going against Steph Curry, Draymond Green. They got too much experience, and
Jimmy
it showed. I mean, Houston made a run. Somebody said, a friend of mine texted me, said, "I'm going to bed. It's a blowout." And when they cut it like 76, 73 or something like that, I took a picture of the score and sent it. As soon as I sent that, them boys start blowing them out again, man. I'm like, let me just shut up. Because, Golden State is the truth. The Lakers, that was the toughest one to me. I think a lot of us said on the last show that that's one of the most interesting matchups.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I picked the Lakers to win, yes, and that's partially because I'm a LeBron fan, huge LeBron fan. I know June can't stand him. Huge LeBron fan, but I had Minnesota as my sleeper. When I thought they was going to be the 7th seed, they got to the 6th, and they got the Lakers. So now I got to root against my sleeper. But if the Lakers lose my pick, I'm going back with my sleeper. They can get to the Western Conference Finals again.
Yeah, if they get it together, because they have the pieces in place to be all right, to make a run in the playoffs. I do like Minnesota's makeup. And like Golden State, I don't think anybody wants to see them in the first round because they are dangerous. They're dangerous.
Yeah, not at all.
They're a dangerous team. It's going to be a tough out, and I think Houston better win when the game 2. They have to. It's a must-win game for them.
It's a must-win. I don't see how they can though, because much like Foss was talking about the Pistons. Who's their number 2? You know what I mean? They don't have one. You don't have a go-to guy that you just know you can go to and get a bucket. There, which is why the talk was a few weeks ago about them trading Jabari Smith and somebody else for KD. KD would give them a perfect fit next to Şengün and Van Fleet and some of them young guys they got. You know what I mean? So I don't think they can win because lack of shooting, consistent shooting, and they don't have another guy.
Yeah, could be. I mean, I don't know. I just figured, with them being the number 2 and they managed to do pretty well during the season, they'd have that figured out. But
no, I agree, June. But remember, in the West, from 2 down to 7, it's like maybe 2, 3 losses at the most between all them teams.
It's very, very close.
Yeah,
like you're like even, the play-in games were the 9th and the 10th one wasn't that far behind.
Respect, June. I like the way you avoided that big pause with the very, very close.
Yeah.
I had to salute that.
I say a little prayer before I start the show, to guide my steps and stay away from the phone. It's a bunch of people I talk to every day, and you have to be on your P's and Q's.
Yeah, it's you're battle tested, is what it is.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Hey, I've gotten so used to saying things are difficult all the time.
Yeah.
Ups your vocabulary, really.
Right.
The words you choose can make all the difference.
Yeah. I'll be glad when these TV guys learn that because they just be going off.
Man, this is. And then if you ever watch Shaq during the show, and it's like Shaq is like when Charles says something crazy, and he's like, "Oh,"
mm-hmm.
And then it's like so yeah, I've been trained for pause.
Right. So, continue. I want to ask you guys a question, man, about the Pistons.
What's up?
So I said again, if you don't check out the Central Division Showdown, check it out. I don't know what we're doing. Well, I think we're working through the playoffs in the off season. I don't know when it'll be started back up. We'll have to talk amongst ourselves and figure out how we do that. But I said earlier in the season that the Pistons, and I still think that you guys tell me what you think, would be better if you could get Cade off the ball a little more with a true pass first point guard in your lineup. Pass first, one that can knock down shots, because I think Cade can still do what he does, but we wouldn't have the responsibility and the pressure and defenders coming at him as much if you had a true ball handler. He could catch it he could catch the ball off the workaround and then drive to the basket, get in the paint and kick outs and everything else. I think it takes his usage down a little bit, but maximizes his efficiency.
I'll let Foster talk about this because I've had this conversation with Foster many times.
Okay.
He'll know he knows my thoughts.
Now, what he said was somebody that can give him a break. He didn't say somebody to come in and be the primary ball handler. But yes, I think he definitely, like you said, it could cut down his usage.
Hold on. I didn't say help, with the ball handling chores and move Cade over a little bit.
I'm not 100% what your firm stance was as far as what you truly wanted.
Their firm stance.
Yeah, well, yeah, because we talked about somebody that can come in and be the point. You said take Cade off the ball and make him not.
Yeah, have a starting point guard in the lineup. Somebody that can do those things. I think makes you better. I think Cade is a beast. Duran's gonna be a beast. You got Ivy coming back. I mean, Ivy and that dude with Cade at the 3. You bring Beasley off the bench. I see so much.
Now June's got his hand. Now June's got his hand. But Cade is one of the best passers in the entire league. This is a guy that can average.
He can still make those passes at the 3.
I get that, but when you say bring in a full blown point guard, that's going to take away a lot of usage of him having. When you're the best, when you just said that Jalen, he's not even as good as Jalen, or Jalen Brunson's not even as good as him. Do you realize if you take the ball out of his hands that much, how much less of an impact on the game you're saying? That's like taking the ball out of LeBron's hand and say, bring in a point guard. He won't be able to.
What do you think Luka is? You don't think LeBron kept the ball since Luka got there? And LeBron's still getting 25, 8, and 8.
Well, LeBron is now in the twilight of his career. That's a little bit of a different story. You would have never thought that would have worked 10 years ago when he was in his real prime, though.
But
that makes more sense now, though.
He played with Kyrie in his prime. I mean, LeBron handled the ball in clutch situations. Cade can still do that. But right. You take him off the ball, you free him up, save some energy, don't got to defend point guards. It's all kind of benefit to it to me. I'm asking you guys as Pistons fans what your thoughts are.
Foster was thinking that I was going to take the ball away from Cade and have Cade running off screens all game long, and that's not what I
don't think Foster ever said that, but
okay. I'll scroll up and I'll take a screenshot and show you where you said that.
Well, I guess if you told me I can't tell you.
My rebuttal was that's not all he can do. There's ISOs. There's he can still get the ball on the wing and create and do other things. He doesn't have to run around and be Reggie Miller or Rip Hamilton. He doesn't have to do that. There's times when you want him to get a shot. But when we talk about a point guard, a true point guard, right? And we're talking about a person that can get Cade the ball in spots where he wants it, where he can still have the option to pass or shoot. It doesn't mean you can't facilitate at all, because Scottie Pippen was one of those guys at the 3 that made a lot of decisions with the basketball, and he was on the court with Jordan. So
he just turned into a secondary playmaker nonetheless. You just take some of the responsibility. I mean, because he averaged like top 5 in assists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's a great passer, especially for a 6'7" big. He's a great passer. But also, you got to consider the turnovers to go with that too. I saw a lot of turnovers from Cade tonight too.
And in that 21-0 run, he had a few turnovers. They had 8 total. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, the main reason I say it, Foster, is because I think him playing point guard and the role that he's in kind of wears him down.
Yeah, that part.
That's what I think. And I think he needs a little help. Now, what you saw tonight was a little bit of what I'm thinking. Schroeder in those key moments where he was the primary, because they were doubling, and they was making sure Cade didn't beat him in the last closing minutes. And You've seen what happened when you have somebody that's capable to facilitate and hit outside shots. That's your
That part.
shoulder. So if you just imagine if you got a point guard that can, that can play alongside Cade and that can facilitate and get Cade the ball or take over when they're denying Cade. At some point, they're gonna say, okay, we can't double Cade because this person can knock him down as well. This person, that gives him more options.
I'm just saying, Detroit tied Jerome a free agent after this year. I'm just saying.
I mean,
point guard though.
in the positionless basketball where even your center is able to push. I mean, it's all kind of subjective. The idea is that if you have another ball handler that can create, yes, that will help. I just don't think that you don't want to put in a position where somebody else is touching the ball more than him. I think when your best player is touching the ball the most, that's going to give you the best opportunity to win because he's going to be able to create opportunities for others because he's going to get double.
Well, your true point,
but you still can kick it to him on the secondary pass. He can drive, he can kick. It frees him up so much more. Swing, get the ball. Attack the closeout. He's still doing the same thing. He just has the responsibility of setting it up, calling the plays, and doing all that.
Your true point guard. My thing is, sometimes when you have a point guard, they play the defense, plays from the time they get the ball all the way up to and I think that wears Cade out. And I think if you had someone there that can do that and facilitate the offense, that doesn't mean and your point guard is not going to have the ball the entire possession.
Of course.
You might take the ball out of Cade's hand, bring it up the court, but other than that, it's whoever's open is going to get the ball. Your point guard is going to facilitate who gets the ball and where, and try to get them in their spots. And I think Cade can also be a second facilitator out there, or that other person can be a second facilitator. I just think that the overall position wears him down. That's what I think. But unless it has to be some kind of person that I actually trust to change the way Cade is playing, and I have to really believe in that person. You
got to trust him more than Cade, and I mean, Cade turns the ball.
You can't bring in Matt Flynn and say, "Hey, it's it has to be somewhat of some stature that understands that Cade is the man, and my priorities are running this offense and making sure Cade gets the ball when he needs the ball and more comfortable, and give him a chance to facilitate some.
Yeah. So I'm looking 2.2 assists for every one turnover. That's like 2-to-1. That's not good from your primary ball handler.
Should be double.
Yeah, at least.
We talking about tonight?
No, I'm talking for the season. So if he averaged nine assists, I mean he averaged 4.5 turnovers.
Yeah. What's Trae Young?
Oh, y'all talk.
Yeah,
it's probably similar because he has a.
Well, you know what, Foster, and one of the things that I do come to grips with. This is a turnover league. They don't take it. There's not a team that takes care of the ball that much better than everybody else. Everybody turns the ball over. It's just one, like in the realm of positionless basketball, in the realm of fast-paced basketball, and there's a lot of teams that just they're kind of flimsy with the ball. It is. I understand that. The
7.3 assists to 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
So K was better.
Yeah.
Because it's 9 to 4.5 versus 7.5 to 4. So K's a little better.
But Trae Young has 11. I mean, he's the assist leader in the whole NBA. I want to say, right?
I think he was.
So it's like better assist ratio than the assist leader. I mean, what more can you ask for, really?
Yeah, I mean, but Trae doesn't get worn down, and it doesn't take away from his game in the late quarters and this, that, and other. I was just talking from a perspective to make the game a little easier for Cade. That's it.
Yeah. Ideally, you. I mean,
It goes Trey Young, Joker, Halliburton, Cade Cunningham was fourth, Harden was fifth.
And let me tell you this though. You said Joker was number 2, right?
Joker was number 2.
That really doesn't hardly ever happen. Where your centers, I mean, the game has changed so much. Where a center is the second leading assist person. There's that's usually your point guard on your team is usually the the person that averages the most assists on your team. He's second in the league.
yeah.
He's not second on his team. So,
Right.
but he's an anomaly. That's Joker. But you would have never seen this before with all the other great centers and players that could play multiple positions. You didn't see that. So, it's new territory. I mean, it has to be someone to change Cade's role. I think it would have to be a phenomenal point guard. And unless I don't think Trey Young is the phenomenal point guard.
Nah, that don't work.
Yeah, I don't think he's the phenomenal point guard. I don't think the
So
league.
if it ain't Trey Young, it ain't nobody damn here. Because Trey
I
wanted to.
I just don't think it's just that kind of league no more.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
you just want a strong complementary guard, which is
just
want.
to help him out. Just to help him out in certain instances, not just when he's on the bench. You got people that can handle the position when he's resting. I want somebody that can help him while he's out there.
Yeah. As far as I see the lineups and the roster, and June said it, that guy has to be Schroeder. I mean, if the Knicks decide what we're going to do is pick up full court with Cade and wear him down, that's going to be a factor. And during those times, you need Schroeder out there to take the ball out of his hand. I think he's the only one I see that's really capable of that.
Now, pre-injury, it should have been Ivy. It should have been Ivy. Ivy would have been very complimentary to Cade out there, and he can bring the ball up and he can facilitate. It's just, he just hasn't been that kind of person. Now he was starting the ball a little bit before he broke his leg, but just that other person out there that can say, okay, you're gonna keep the ball out of Cade's hands. Okay, I got it. So
right.
We'll see, man. But that was we're just waiting for game 3 on Thursday, and your game is on Wednesday. Milwaukee versus Indiana is tomorrow. We'll tune into those games. We're going over an hour, so we'll go ahead, and I know it's late, so I'll let you close out, Foster. But before that, Tate, you can tell the people where they can reach you and what you got going on this week.
Oh yeah, man. Just check us out. Basketball, That's Rather Cavalier podcast on the Fans First Sports Network. That's Rather Cavalier podcast channel. Same place you find all your podcasts on audio. Just search Fans First Sports Network, FFSN. That's Rather Cavalier. You'll check us out on there. On every Monday, we work with these guys from Bleachers to Speaker, frustrated Chicago sports fans, typically. So they just duck and hide and get in the live chat like today. But shout out to Central Division Showdown. You can find me on the Fans First Steel Curtain Network talking football. This Thursday, we trying to throw something together. I know everybody got their own stuff and it's everywhere, or we can even appear on different simulcasts and stuff and talk about the draft. I know I talked to June, hadn't got to talk to B False about, or B False probably just didn't answer. That's what it was. I talked to both of y'all at the same time as far as the chat goes.
Right.
But we trying to have a collective, Fans First Sports Network draft coverage where each of the people we affiliated with and associated, it won't be everybody, just those podcasters and YNs that we fool with out here in these streets. where on the Know It Alls channel, you can see it on what would be the Bleachers and Speaker podcast and stuff. We just going remote for everybody, and everybody can talk about when their team is close to picking, talk about their team needs and who they like see their team pick, and then talk about the pick briefly afterwards. So asking those people that join us and get involved with as far as that goes, just 10, 15, 20 minutes at the most. Talk about your team, talk about your pick, and then get out of there. And so we trying to have that together for Thursday about 7:15, 45 minutes before the draft, asking people just to jump in, introduce yourselves, and go on about your business till you come back when your team is, because we're doing the whole first round. Till your team is on the clock and come back and join us, and we'll go from there. So something simple, but something fun. I'm sure you'll get a lot of good information, solid draft information. I know these guys on Bleachers Speakers been breaking down different prospects. Good analysis by June, and I think you get that good information. You're definitely gonna get some foolery and shenanigans anytime. My boy Big G is in the building, and Pay be there, and you think it's been some no ditties tonight. It's really no ditties in that thing, man. When all those guys get together.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just have fun, foolery, and shenanigans, and share good sports content and information with our listeners and viewers. So that's it.
Yeah. For that show, definitely I can't speak for Foster. I don't know what he has going on. I know, but Thursday, one of us will be there.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Pistons do have a game. So we'll definitely, me and Foster, especially if they win, I know me and Foster's going live. That's going to happen on Thursday. Yeah. It's just there's no way it's not gonna happen. And then we do have the draft. So you'll see one of us on the joint venture with us. I know definitely I will be. At least.
Okay. Well, I'll send both y'all the link when it's set up, and just pop in when you can, man. You know what I mean? Assuming the game, like y'all pick late anyway, so the basketball game may be over by the time the Pistons is on the clock. The Lions is on the clock.
We've seen stranger things. It could be a move up or something like that.
Could be a move up. We've
done in the past couple of drafts, so
that'll be worth cutting into the game for.
Yeah. Last two drafts we've moved up or moved back. So we made some
moved. Yeah. Move up means a smaller number.
Well, I'm saying like we've moved in the draft in the first round, the last three drafts, I believe. So
movement.
It's happened. So
just update this Clippers Denver game is good. 55-54 just come out of halftime. So
wow.
Perfect.
I'm about to when we get done here, I'm about to go watch this for the rest of the night. And like you said earlier, June, we just chop it up. I don't got to be up in the morning for nothing.
Foster does. Foster, put a bow on this so we can get out of here.
Yeah, man. One thing I want to see us clean up is the turnovers. We had 11 more turnovers, 10 more turnovers than them in game one, and we saw how that one turned out. We were better today. I think we had about even as far as turnovers are concerned, and we saw the benefits of that reap. But I'm really encouraged about us winning this game tonight. This was a game that Hardaway shot 0% from three, and Beasley shot 12% from three, and we still were able to win the ball game without Isaiah Stewart. So I do expect our role players to play better. I'm in a more controlled environment at home. One thing that has jumped out at me is that we have had more free throw attempts than them, and that's something that I was kind of concerned about. I knew Brunson was going to get to the line. I knew that we had a couple guys that are often in foul trouble, such as a Duran, a Sar Thompson, sometimes even a Cade. So if we can continue to win that battle, I think that will be big for us. And hopefully, we can get some favorable calls now that we are at home. So pressure's on the Knicks yet again to bounce back, but they'll have to do it in enemy territory. So be on the lookout on Thursday. It should be a good game.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff going on Thursday. The draft, the actual Pistons game, and before we get out of here, I want to say Tigers win.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, versus a very good Padres team, and we'll be back at it tomorrow night. So subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube. to catch this show and the other stuff we have on the channel. We're getting close to 250 subscribers. So if you already subscribed, like, share, keep us in the algorithm, make sure and share, tell a friend about us, man. If you're not subscribed and you're listening, you are wrong.